So to delay or to not delay is the question for many and many people who are approaching retirement or approaching the age in which they need to make the decision about Social Security. So what do most people do? And is what most people do make the most sense? Is it the wisest choice? Here's a recent graph that shows the percentage of individuals and the age at which they began to take benefits. This was done back in 2012, but I don't know that the figures probably have changed all that much in the intervening years. We see that 62, the age of 62, is where nearly almost half of women and nearly 1 in 3 or over 1 in 3 men elect to take their Social Security. And then as you go 62 through full retirement age, that covers a majority of individuals. So the most common age is the earliest age at which they can take it, and a majority have taken it by the time they reach full retirement age. Only about 2% of men and women are taking it beyond full retirement age and before 70, and only about 1% of men and close to 2% of women are delaying taking their Social Security until age 70 or later. So it's very interesting to look at the value of delaying. If you look at a 2% cost of living increase coupled with an 8% increase in the benefit, that's almost a 10% increase year over year, every single year that you delay after full retirement age. You would think that more people would delay. And yet, statistics show that most people don't. Most people take it early. It is interesting to note that, actuarially speaking, Social Security was developed back in the 30s to basically have the same total cumulative amount of payments for somebody who took it at 62 as someone who took it at the age of 70. So let me put that another way. The way that they developed the actual benefit amount was that somebody who was age 62 and lived till life expectancy would get the same amount of payments as the person who took it at 70 and lived to life expectancy. So you might hear that and you might think, well, I guess it doesn't really matter when I take it. Ultimately, if I live to life expectancy, I'll get about the same as any other age that I might get. But life expectancy back in the 30s, when Social Security was developed, is much different than Social Security the life expectancy is now. Obviously, longevity has increased by many years since the 30s. And so we need to look at how long do we really need to plan for income in retirement. So let's talk about longevity. Let's talk about life expectancy. Life expectancy is the age at which 50% of the people will pass away before it, and 50% of people will pass away after it. So life expectancy really is not the best measurement of the planning period that you should use, because 50% of people are going to live beyond life expectancy. And in this Wharton Financial Center study that was done recently, they looked at healthy individuals retiring at age 65 and what the likelihood of how long these individuals could live. A male, just a male, healthy male, has a 1 in 4 chance of living beyond the age of 92. A female, a 1 in 4 chance of living beyond the age of 94. And a couple, at least one of a healthy age 65-year-old couple has a 1 in 4 chance of living beyond the age of 97, and a 1 in 10 chance one of them will live beyond the age of 100. So when I look at that, I think that's a pretty significant gamble to elect to take Social Security early, kind of thinking through break evens and whether I'm going to live to life expectancy or beyond life expectancy. Because the longer that we're living, and we are living longer, and the technology and the healthcare that allows us to live longer really would lead us to really think twice about electing to take Social Security early, because once we've elected an early Social Security, that is the amount that we'll get for the rest of retirement. Does that mean it's never wise to take Social Security before full retirement age? Not necessarily. I think there are two probably good reasons to take Social Security early. One is if you really need the money and you're not going to be subject to the earnings test of working and receiving Social Security. You're no longer working, in other words. Another circumstance would be that you're in poor health and you may not live to life expectancy, and that's a fairly well-known circumstance for you. Then taking Social Security early could make sense. It could make sense that the lower income earner of the two spouses takes Social Security early or earlier. But I always think that there's a high level of value for at least the higher earning spouse, the primary income earning spouse, to delay Social Security, not only for themselves and the longevity of their retirement, but also for a surviving spouse and being able to provide a surviving spouse a significantly high Social Security benefit that allows them to have longevity for their portfolio. Secondly, if you plan to keep on working, in most cases it's not going to make sense to elect to claim early benefits at age 62 and be subject to that earnings test. Some additional reasons that delaying can be a good idea is the amount between the earliest age and the latest age is almost a factor of 2 times total benefits. Keep in mind that Social Security is basically an annuity. It's guaranteed for the rest of each of your lives. And that amount is guaranteed for the rest of a surviving spouse's life. It's one of the very few sources of income that can combat inflation, has protection against inflation built into it. And keep in mind that the income source itself is tax favored as compared to other types of retirement income that you may receive. So, circling back again, if it's such a good idea, what is the reason that many take early or decide not to delay claiming? And a lot of times they really don't have a plan. They don't have a bridge to get from the land of retirement where they stop working to the land of Social Security payments. Here, this chart, not this chart, but this picture shows an example of the bridge that gets us from stopping working to the beginning of payments if we're delaying, and several ideas of ways to build that bridge if you haven't thought through it or have a plan. You certainly can take withdrawals out of your own investments. You can take withdrawals from savings. You could certainly earn enough in part-time work to equal the amount of the Social Security that you would have gotten if you'd taken it early. And there are even some innovative ways to take those payments or that bridge payments through the use of a reverse mortgage over a short period of time.